Hey everyone, Jeff here, and today I've got one of the best sounding movies I've ever heard on 4K. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel. In today's review, we're going to be looking at Edge of Tomorrow, aka Live, Die, Repeat on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray here from Warner Brothers. I'll be diving into the visual quality. We'll talk a lot about the audio because that's a highlight and a bit of a controversy online with this release, and I'll cover packaging and special features and ultimately let you guys know whether or not this one's worth upgrading for your collection. Before we get started, if you are a 4K collector, movie collector, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever it is, or you're a home theater enthusiast, or maybe your significant other is a collector and you want to impress them, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that as we push towards 100,000 subscribers here in 2022. Now, let's get right into the review. So Edge of Tomorrow comes to us here on 4K Blu-ray from Warner Brothers, and visually, I thought this was a pretty nice upgrade over the Blu-ray. It's a recent movie, 2014. It has a 2K digital intermediate, so upgrading to 4K, maybe you don't think that's going to be huge, but I actually thought that this one did improve a lot. There is an enhanced level of detail and, quality to that 4K image and added depth a lot of times, which is, partly resolution, partly HDR. HDR is the real highlight here. I do like the color grading on this release better than what Blu-ray gave us. I thought that highlights are far better. There are a few darker scenes where the black levels are really deep black. You don't have any sort of contrast or brightness issues there. You're getting a true black color, which HDR helps with. So the HDR certainly helps in some of the big action sequences. All the big explosions and fireworks and gunshots going off are much better with HDR and 4K, and the epic battle scenes throughout this movie are enhanced with that color. So is it going to be the largest upgrade you've ever seen? No, but it's a very solid upgrade, and you certainly won't be disappointed by the way this looks on 4K. Now, the big reason a lot of people were excited for this release was the audio, because we got a Dolby Atmos audio track with a Dolby True HD 7.1 source. The previous Blu-ray only had a 5.1, but it was a lot of people's favorite audio tracks. In fact, it was used as a demo track by many companies, including, I believe, SVS Sound, who I get my subwoofer and speakers from. They would use the opening scene as a demo track to really stress test their subwoofers. They mentioned this on the podcast episode I did with them, because there's a super low frequency moment in the opening scene that could almost blow out your subwoofer if you have a cheaper one. With this Atmos track, they have balanced that out a little more, and there was a big Twitter thread that I was a part of, and Ralph Potts from AVS Forums was a part of, and we were kind of going back and forth, and people were showing, the waveforms and how they, people were saying, oh, they destroyed the low frequency. They really didn't. What they really did was they balanced it better. It sounds better to me overall. It sounds like this Atmos track is more well balanced, and the bass is no slouch in this. It's not like they destroyed low frequency. Your subwoofer is going to get a huge workout with Edge of Tomorrow, and even though that opening brown note isn't there, I think that it's still important to note that the overall 2 hours that we're listening to are better. So the fact that maybe they took out this, subwoofer stress test in the first 20 seconds doesn't really matter to me. It honestly doesn't, because the rest of the movie in the next 2 hours are incredible, and they sound great, and they're way better than the 5.1. I have no problem with what they did adjusting some of the low frequency. Maybe some people out there will. This could be a bummer for you, but just keep in mind it's a 15-second portion of a 2-hour movie. And honestly, if we weren't showing waveforms and people online weren't doing that analysis of like, how deep does this bass actually go, because it's subsonic, you can't hear it. It's so low you can't hear it. It was purely a feel. Most people wouldn't notice. 99.99% of people who watch this review and pick up Edge of Tomorrow on 4K will not notice that that opening scene has been changed. And in fact, I think what they will notice is that the rest of the movie has been enhanced and is far better. I'd highly recommend it, especially if you've invested in the speakers and the technology. Edge of Tomorrow is the type of movie Atmos was made for. So packaging here, pretty standard. We got a slipcover. You got Edge of Tomorrow with Live, Die, Repeat on the spine and on the front. They still can't decide which they want to call this movie. It's an interesting conundrum because they called it Edge of Tomorrow at first. It didn't do well in theaters. They tried to call it Live, Die, Repeat while it was still in theaters to like almost remarket it. It just didn't work. It didn't pick up steam in theaters. No disc art here. You do get a 4K digital copy inside. But it's an interesting little movie history tidbit because they are still saying Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, as if it's sort of like a subtitle. And that was never the case. They did that to try to make it more obvious for people thinking they didn't understand the movie. But this movie is excellent. It's a ton of fun. It's one of Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt's best movies. It's one of the best sci-fi movies. It's one of the best, I guess you could call it, time travel movies. I mean, it's a really interesting concept, perfectly executed by everybody on the cast, and the action sequences are top-notch. So, love the movie. Packaging, sort of standard stuff, and then special features. They're all in the Blu-ray, and they're all ported over from the previous Blu-ray. But you get some deleted scenes. There's some behind-the-scenes featurette on like strapping on the exosuits and how that worked. There's a behind-the-scenes with the director and some of his pressure to make this film, you know, look real, even though it's futuristic war. And then there's a deeper look at the big sci-fi battle scene that sort of is the you know, penultimate scene of the movie. So decent special features, but everything's ported over from the Blu-ray. The real reason to buy this is to upgrade your disc, get HDR, which greatly enhances this picture, and get that Dolby Atmos track because it's going to blow you away. I really don't want to hear about the bass because I think this is so overblown, and we need to, you know, Bill Hunt said this best on Twitter. Nobody's watching this movie with a waveform in front of them. So sometimes we lose really what we're looking for, which is the magic in the experience, and we get too focused on the technical nitty-gritty of something so specific like that. And I just don't want that to turn anybody away from this release, because this is top-tier Atmos, it's top-tier entertainment, and it's a top-tier 4K disc. So if you want to pick this up, I'll leave a link in the description and in the pinned comment. You can buy it from Amazon, and that helps support me and the channel, so I appreciate that. Also, make sure you check out all the other links in my description to my social media channels and the podcast, as well as all the partners who support me and the channel, and some of the affiliate links down there, which is a great way to passively support what I'm doing. Also, make sure you like the video and you're subscribed, and follow along for more videos like this so you never miss a review or a podcast. I got some great stuff coming out this week and into the future, so you're not going to want to miss it. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely check out Edge of Tomorrow on 4K, and if you haven't seen this movie, period, you're missing out. One of the better movies of the last decade, in my opinion, and certainly one of the best action movies, I'd say, of all time. There, I'll say it. I really like the movie. So watch it, enjoy the 4K disc, have a great rest of your day, stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll talk to you guys soon.